Hi guys, it's Laura. How you doing? Today I'm sharing some ancient history with you. So this is an old sketchbook from right after I graduated fashion school, Parsons in 1995. One of my first interviews was with Gap Incorporated. Hey Chris, um, so nice to see you, sweetheart. So I found this old project, and for this interview for Gap, it was the job title was color and print stylist. It's back in 1995, and so what I did inside this book was explore concepts of like color and pattern. And I've always been really into pattern and kind of roots, ethnic fashion and stuff. Especially because of my year in Paris, the things I saw there. Hello. So I'm going to talk to you like what I did here. I mean, this is super old. This is like 1995, but it may inspire some of you guys to do something cool that you have not done before. Oh, shucks. I wanted to read your comments better, but I'm kind of looking up and down. So first of all, this is Aqua B Super Deluxe, and I always recommend this book because the paper in it is almost exactly the same as this paper we used to use called Parsons paper. It's like a little bit thinner than Bristol, but and only the front side has the nice vellum on it. The other side you wouldn't want to use, but it's thick, so it really does take paint well. And the thing is, it's creamy. It's not like a bright white, so it's something to think about. Sometimes you really want creamy, and you don't want that whitish. Hang on, let me change my lights around a little bit. So I'm going to go back to the beginning, and this is, especially for beginners, but I hope it's inspiring for anyone. Sometimes you're not even sketching fashion per se, right? So Aqua B Super Deluxe is a great book. It comes in squares and rectangles. It's heavyweight, technically, it doesn't say how many pounds it is, but it's really nice for illustrations. It's not perforated up here though, so you wouldn't want to use it as illustration paper. But it's like the paper isn't thin enough to trace through. Hi, Edu. So sometimes I recommend sketchbooks that you can trace paper, like it's sheer enough to trace. This is thicker, takes paint better, but isn't very traceable. So what I collected in here, and this is just something that might inspire any of you, if you've been on my it's so nice to see you, lovely. If you've been on some of my other recent things, I want you to know, hey Jeffrey, that there is Fab Scrap is a great place to build your swatch collection if you don't have swatches at all, or if you're not near a city where it's easy for you to get fabric swatches. Fab Scrap is $5 a pack for these swatch kits, and they'll send you big ones. So fab_scrap.org, like fabric scraps. Okay, so here I had like, the thing is that you're pulling together random ideas, and you can take this any way you want. You might do this digitally, blah, blah, blah. But what I was doing here was I collected here it was tonal, like linens, really gentle tonal stuff, which actually was very much the mood in 1995. I remember I just graduated fashion school, and all of a sudden the magazines were this thick. I was a child of the 80s, well, born in the 70s, but magazines were so fat and so luscious. And by the time I graduated fashion school, they were like pamphlets, and everything was like nude and neutral. And I was like, whoa, where'd the Versace go? So I was collecting images of like clothing, that loose, airy linen stuff, and then like soft tonal print. And then I was trying to think of my own print and stripe ideas. So I tried to create, hi Cocoon, I tried to create different print pattern ideas, as well as stripe concepts, and also color palette. So I was playing with, which colors would I include in my stripe. And there's a bunch of like text here where I'm writing out my ideas. Here, I like this one a lot. Like a lot of this stuff I would like to revisit. Hi, Karen. Good morning. Oh, it's such an honor to see each and every one of you. So this is just a creative idea. It was kind of like a bamboo, like taking the idea of a stripe and turning it into a print. Hey, we've been friends for 3 years on Facebook, Karen. We just figured that out. I love it. These colors are brighter because I used Caran d'Ache, Caran d'Ache Neo Color water-soluble crayons to play with it. But the concept I was playing with was stripes with like botanical pattern integrated in. So it wasn't a print, it wasn't a floral print, and it wasn't a strictly woven stripe. But now when I think about it, I'm like, oh, that must be a very, what do you call it? That means it would have to be a printed stripe, most likely, unless it was a woven stripe with a botanical printed onto it. I love fusion. Hey, Karen and Chris, you're both here. It's a party. I like those kinds of unexpected fusions where you take the limitations of like a woven and then you printing on top of a woven. Or if you've ever seen those plaids that are then batik dip dyed with wax, you get like, I love those kind of surprises. So here's a new mood board. So here's my inspiration image. And she's got this beautiful kanga on. I got some kanga when I was in Paris. And it used to be so hard to find photos anywhere of these things. So I was so excited when I found a photo of it. And then I found this photo too. And came up with, first of all, this was some kind of a print inspired by her kanga. Both the colors and the motif. A little bit sunflowery. Blank pages. Here's mostly mood board. So this model was really popular at one point, and I was like so into her. And there was this whole spread where she was like in Morocco. And I had, my hair was like that at the time. Angie, do you know where my glasses are?
On your head.
These are sunglasses. Oh, here's a pair. Guys, it's like I can't, my eyes won't refocus from from comments to, thanks, Karen, from the comments to the board. But you see how there's like a color story happening here? That's new language for some of you. So a color story. For here, it's like tonals again, but then there's like some hues, some like more pure color and pastels mixing in with the tones. And then back here, it was more like saturated hues that are brighter. So it's just exploring color, but still all around this kind of African, North African theme. Here we go. What are these? Okay, and then this whole, I love using the board this way, top and bottom. I was able to get more images. I could see more images all at once. And I played with like creating a color palette. I found a color inspiration in my pattern making tissue. And it just kept picking up. Once you start looking for something, you will keep finding it. So I kept finding these colors, these tonal, God, I love this one. Tonal colors with little shocks of blue. Just felt really, really good. And the reason I'm showing you this is to inspire you to create your own boards and create worlds. Create worlds, create moods. Another thing I wanted to mention is when I do fashion sketches, croquis, I don't like to work, and also portfolios, when I teach portfolio, I don't recommend having figures up here and figures down here. Something like fundamentally bugs me about thinking that the girls are standing on the other girls. So if I'm going to do lots of sketches all at once, I usually do them in a landscape format. So the spiral's in the middle and the girls are going all across the page. But this is more like an immersion, like a big mood that you can just dive into. And then what happens is if you create a board like this, you can keep coming back to it to take color cues or to take certain motif. For example, and look, I find parts of my life in here too. Like here's a cover of Miles Davis, best of Miles Davis tape, that I used to listen to all the time, but it has like the same colors All right, oops. All right, what's going on? Yeah. There's other like record covers in here because music was always a big part of my thing. This is falling apart. I used to get most of my images out of National Geographic. I love seeing how people live close to the earth. I find this sacred in there personally. You know, I still do. And sometimes I think that's why a lot of appropriation happens. It's like we're searching for the sacred, and when we see it, we want it because we often don't see it in our mass. We don't see it as much as we used to. We want to feel sacred. We want to see sacred. We want to be the sacred things that we are. So you can see how the tonalities are in here. And actually, I'm thinking now how these jars would be an awesome print motif. In one of my other sketchbooks, I created a lace that was, instead of flowers, it was a lace of woven baskets. Again, that's like an unexpected fusion, and I love that. And I love mixed patterns. So these are mixed patterns. For me, that's eye candy. That's layers of rhythm. I love that. And look how they're all tonal, right? So that's cool. And then this flower I created, I was trying to figure out where the heck it came from, and I'm thinking that I pulled it from here. So you bring together different inspirations and then, recreate from them. And here's another. I didn't get this job, by the way, but I ended up working for Gap Incorporated anyway. But I ended up working at Old Navy, which I got that job through a freelance gig. And Old Navy only had 25 people working for it at that time. They were brand new, opening their flagship store. So this one I worked in some primaries. Shoot, there's like a pole in the way, so I have to tilt my book. But it was really fun to work these out. And now I know that I could put these into, I think I'll do this in my Instagram feed today. I could photograph these, put them into a collaging app, and actually get the repeat to happen. A little Frida Kahlo. Before there was this huge resurgence of Frida Kahlo interest. This one's a lot of fun. So again, because my book is this way, I get a full layout. Even though, like I told you, the front of the Aqua Bee Super Deluxe is textured, but the back is straighter. It's not as nice, but I painted on it anyway. So again, more concepts. And this is, I love it. And then again, we have like blue, red, yellow. So primaries coming in, which you all probably know is so big for me. Hello, Joseph. And these sort of geometric patterns. I'm not sure where the geometric inspiration started for me in here. Perhaps I pulled it out of here. And here. Yeah, it's nice to look back and find out where you got your references. Because sometimes you just really want to riff out. I mean, always, right? We want to play. We want to create this and this. Similar, like a watercolor floral. And that kind of brings me back a little bit to this fabric. So it's nice to have actual fabrics in there so we can think not just about the surface design, but how does it feel? What's the weight? What's the crispness or the flow? Here's another like crushed, iridescent, pearly looking tonal fabric. Color chip, pattern play. This would look so nice on silk. Colored chip. Oh, and these are really cool. I don't know how the lighting is, but the way I sketched up these plaids using a dry brush, hang on, which is something I teach in my course. Hang on. Plaid development. I always wished I did more textile stuff. I took a textile class pre-computer back in the day But I got pregnant and I was so sleepy, I ended up not doing the whole class. This is just more like color and mood. And the funniest thing is I was so obsessed with my Elle magazines and stuff that I actually know which model this was, even though her head's cut off. It's Roberta Churco. Oh my God, her head is still there. And I bet this is a photo by Gilles Ben Simon, whatever, because I know his work. So, oh no, it's Gilles Tapi. Go figure. Okay, well, that was so like of the era, the style, and there's this sense of the sacred again. Now we're going into like warm golds. Still that blue keeps coming up, but more like burnt colors. So I wonder if I was going from season to season. I'm not sure. These have, to me, sometimes these colors are associated with autumn. But I always remind my students that season is more about weight, fabric weight, than colors. Truly, you have unlimited color freedom. It's the weight of your fabric that's your most important choice. So this is more of the same color, our beloved coffee. Shoot, I don't know who this artist is. A painting, more interiors, painted music. Is that me or is that not me? Music was always an inspiration. Still is. Album cover from the Jerome Kern songbook. Jazz music, I was always learning songs. Pygmy from Upper Zaire. This is Zap Mama is always like my biggest inspiration ever. Marie Dawn. If you look at Zap Mama Official on Instagram, you can look at her work. Hello. This is Pygmies from Congo. And it's incredible music that they make when they're gathering honey at the harvest. And it's like, they call it polyphony. It's like listening to birds sing, but it's human. It's so moving. I couldn't even begin to describe it to you. This is an image from Texas, another National Geographic. Here you could see like tonal plaid with the shocks of color. So, the themes keep coming back. It's wonderful to bring them together. This concept, these bricks with the grass growing up around them, is a great concept for a flocked woven fabric, right? I always like textures. This is a book I had of African textiles. Looks like a mud cloth, quote unquote mud cloth, but I'm not sure. It was a book I dismantled. And then there's just some random stuff I was collecting because I loved it so much. I don't know if there's any more boards in here, so I'm just going to flip up one more. Fine art images, more woven African textiles. See this painting right here? Again, I found that concept of like stripes with floral. So I was thinking about developing another fabric, stripes with floral. And you know what? I think I actually have a swatch now of a brocade, like a damask, that is stripes with floral. And it's entirely woven, no print at all, which is so cool. A chevron effect, right? A woven pattern, also from the African Textiles book. Mexican art by Diego Vieira, Frida Kahlo's husband. That's funny because Frida Kahlo is on the former page. This is a texture, like a linear striated texture, but then it also has another texture in it. Great fabric inspiration. Polka dots kind of going in and out. And so any of the art supplies I use here was either gouache or Sharpie. I used a black Sharpie because this paper is very gritty. It won't take like a very fine pen. It needs something heavy. These are all African strip textiles. I'm not sure what country they're from. And then this is me just sketching out more patterns inspired by things that were in this book. So how wonderful is it to make a diary where you just enjoy. This is an embroidered butterfly. This is a Vlisco print, traditional Dutch wax print. This is another Vlisco print. I think they call this Java style. Very Eastern Asian influence. I think this is a really cool juxtaposition, and I would love to go further with that. It's funny when I look here though, I can remember trends that were in the magazine. Oh, the frog on floral. See, I still get inspired by this to create new things. And sincere inspiration is the greatest. This is another Java print from Vlisco Dutch Wax. These are more African textiles. I think sometimes I use my sketchbook like a folder. And then here's some stripe inspiration. Is that Yasmin? Isn't that her name? So I hope this inspired you to maybe make a book. Look, I barely had to draw. I didn't have to draw any figures, but a place where you can immerse yourself in mood, fabric, color. I hope this inspires you to do something of your own. I love you and thanks for coming by. Have a great day. Don't forget, I have freebies on fashionillustrationtribe.com for fashion inspiration, for model drawing, and for tools, croquis, templates that you can use to sketch your design ideas on. And also, we have the Fashion Tribalistas Facebook group. You can look that up on Facebook. There are also links in my bio on Instagram to all different resources. My merchandise shop, my courses. Freedom Fashion includes print, pattern, but also actually designing and sketching models and sketching clothes on them and creating your own fashion designs collections. We're going to be doing more videos about that. In Freedom Fashion, you are guided not only through all the lessons of what I've been teaching at Parsons for 20 years, but you also get the guidance to hone your collection with me and the support of a private community. Hope to see you there. For creative inspiration and pep talks and info, you can catch our podcast at New Style Voices podcast on Anchor FM and iTunes. Love you. Bye-bye.